The Chicago Bulls are getting ready to go and start their West Coast trip against some of the teams Western Conference, starting with tonight versus the Sacramento Kings. How will the Chicago Bulls fare in those matchups? Who's going to step up, and what is it going to take for the Chicago Bulls to end their road trip on a positive note? Y'all know we're going to talk about it and break it down, but you gotta hear the music first.
Cognac gang.
Shot Bulls Podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down on today's episode of Shot Bulls Podcast. If you tuned in with me, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell as well. Now, look, we know the Chicago Bulls are coming off a bad loss against the Milwaukee Bucks, to where we got the frustrations boil over, and Nikola Vucevic got ejected. DeMar DeRozan picked up a flagrant foul, and the Chicago Bulls were absolutely played and toyed with against those Milwaukee Bucks as the Chicago Bulls went on to lose that matchup. Now the Chicago Bulls, after that home game, head out west to face some of the tougher teams in the Western Conference. The next 5 games include games versus starting tonight versus the Sacramento Kings. Then we face off against the Jazz, the Warriors, the Clippers, and the Mavs. The Kings, for starters, are the 7th seed in the Western Conference, and they are still a solid team to play against. The Sacramento Kings, they have Domantas Sabonis over there, who's been killing it on both ends of the floor and being very, very productive for the Sacramento Kings. The Utah Jazz, they are locked in at the 11th spot right now, and they've been struggling a little bit. That team is 1-8 in their last 9 games. And then the Chicago Bulls face a Warriors team who are coming off a beatdown yesterday versus the Boston Celtics. So the Golden State Warriors are pretty much is going to be fiery, and they're going to be ready to, kind of right that wrong by getting their tails whooped versus the Boston Celtics in one of the in yesterday's game that they played, and it was very, very bad on their part on what they went up against. But hey, if you're looking at the last 13 games for the Warriors, they are 11-2, and they've been playing pretty damn well. That I think the last 2 losses came against the Boston Celtics and the Denver Nuggets in their last 13 games. And let's keep it a buck, those are the 2 best teams within the NBA. So you can't expect much, or you can't be too down when it comes to the Golden State Warriors facing those 2 teams. Then the Chicago Bulls face off after the Warriors, the Los Angeles Clippers, who are at the top of the Western Conference in the 4th seed right now, and pretty much being mentioned as one of those championship contending teams within the NBA. Then the Chicago Bulls go off and face the Mavs, who's fighting for a playoff spot as well. The Mavs right now are slotted in the 8th seed, so they're going to be trying to do everything in their power to come in and be able to produce in such a way to where they can get out that 8th spot potentially. But at the end of the day, they still have 2 dominant forces over there in Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. So the Bulls are right now are in a tough spot. They got to come out here and play their best few games, and hopefully they can come out of this West Coast trip above 500 when it comes to these 5 games that we're bringing right here in front of you today. Hopefully at a minimum 3-2. If they can go 4-1, that'd be a lot better. If they can go 5-0, that will be amazing. But we do know the team that we're dealing with. This is a team that is dealing with a bunch of injuries right now, to where you got Patrick Williams down, you got Zach LaVine down, Torrey Craig down, Alex Caruso is definitely seeing some action within the last game, but he's dealing with that hamstring. He's dealing with a few more injuries. So it's going to be extremely tough for the Chicago Bulls to pull out anything in the West on this road trip. All these games are going to be started late. So please, for the sake of Bulls fandom, please give us something entertaining to watch, Chicago Bulls, because it's going to be difficult these next few games for the Chicago Bulls. This is something that I have been alluding to for the past few weeks. Pretty much saying that the Chicago Bulls, we thought that coming out of All-Star break, it was going to be a little bit more easier, going to be a little bit more sweeter for the Chicago Bulls, but it is not. These are just this 5 games that I put in front of you guys versus the Kings, the Jazz, the Warriors, the Clippers, and the Mavs is just, the beginning of a very, very tough road ahead for the Chicago Bulls. So they got to be able to come out here and do certain things. And hopefully Billy Donovan is coaching his tail off and not being lazy, not being slow with his rotations, being able to outduel some of these head coaches that they are set to go up against, in Mike Brown, in Steve Kerr, in Ty Lue, in Jason Kidd, just to name, just about those coaches that Billy Donovan is getting ready to face off against. Is going to be extremely tough, but hopefully they can go out here and do something like that and be able to get some things done. Because we know right now the Chicago Bulls, they got some players in there that's playing some crazy minutes right now, which you got the Ayo Dosunmus of the world, your Kobe Whites, your DeMar DeRozans of the world, and DeMar DeRozan, a guy that's up there in age, is leading the league in minutes right now. So it's something that you really, really got to consider and really see if the Chicago Bulls can go out here and pull this thing off and put themselves in a better spot than what they're currently in right now. Right now, the Chicago Bulls are locked in at 9. And they got some ways to go before they can even consider, being in that 8, 7, or even 6 seed. Right now, it's about 4.5, 5 games out of the 8th seed, and about 6.5 games out of the 6th seed. If the Chicago Bulls even want to sniff a 6 seed, they have to go on a crazy run, which I don't pretty much see them doing. But hey, you never know. You just hope that the Chicago Bulls can go out here and pretty much put on, for themselves, and just put their best foot forward to go ahead and compete against some of these top teams within the Eastern Conference. It's going to be a tough road ahead for them, and hopefully they don't fall too far down if they decide to go on a nice little losing streak, because again, we got some tough matchups coming up, and you hope that these young guys can step up. And that kind of leads to my next point. Who's going to be the guy to step up? And I think that every game is going to be a little bit different. But who's going to be the guy to step up? I believe we know what we're going to get out of Nikola Vucevic. I believe we know what we're going to get out of DeMar DeRozan. I believe we even know we're going to get out of Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu as well. But who's going to be the guy to step up when the Bulls absolutely needed him? You know what I'm saying? I know we got that double overtime victory a couple nights ago, and you seen the likes of Orlap Bitim come out and be able to perform and help the Chicago Bulls in crucial moments to propel them to a victory in that double overtime game. But it's going to take so much more than that to see the Chicago Bulls go on this road trip and end it above 500. It's going to be extremely tough. For some of the guys, I hope that is one of these young guys that's able on whatever said night to be able to step up and be able to produce, because the Golden State Warriors, you're not going to be able to be lackadaisical when it comes to playing them. You're not going to be able to be lackadaisical when you be able to play the Los Angeles Clippers. The Chicago Bulls are going to have to come out here and use their size. They're going to have to be out here and come out here and play complementary basketball in certain aspects of the game and be able to put themselves in great position to where they, will feel pretty good about themselves and put themselves in a position to win these games. It's just only going to get tougher for the Chicago Bulls. I think for what it's going to take, it's going to have to take some trust from Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan is going to have to trust his young players to come out here and be able to produce on a level to where it can help and propel the Chicago Bulls to a victory. But sometimes it's not always the case. We know that most role players, they play better at home versus being on the road, and the Chicago Bulls are on the road. And I know that most teams, when they're game planning right now to slow Kobe White down, and he's been struggling a little bit, it's going to be extremely tough for DeMar DeRozan. It's going to be extremely tough for everybody on the team. So you want to see what the Chicago Bulls are going to be able to pull out of their backside, and you want to be able to see who's going to be the guy to step up. Hopefully, I don't know if we're going to see a excellent game from Dalen Terry on his road trip. I don't know if we're going to see an excellent game come from Julian Phillips this road game, this road trip. I don't know if we're going to see an excellent game come out from Orlot Bitim during this road trip. I do know that I have no faith in Javon Carter to get it done, but hey, we never know. The guy might come out here and wear his mismatched shoes one day, and they might be clicking on all cylinders. So we shall see what's absolutely going to happen within these next few games, because somebody, some way, needs to step up with these guys that are out, with Billy Donovan trying to depend on, his main guys. That's your Kobe Whites, your Ayos, your DeMars, your Vooches of the world, and things like that. You're going to depend on those guys heavily. But what helps those guys that Billy Donovan is going to depend on is if one of these young guys step up in such a way that Billy Donovan starts to trust them a little bit more to take pressure off of the main guys. You know what I'm saying? So we shall see. It's going to begin tonight. It's going to begin tonight, and that's all we can hope for, to see that the Bulls put their best foot forward to compete. That's pretty much all you can ask for. I don't know what that's going to look like. I'm hoping that it looks like something that's productive and something that's pretty damn cool to see, but it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough, because the Sacramento Kings is a team that was at the top of the West last year. I believe they still have those capabilities and those players that you still have to worry about, like your De'Aaron Foxes and your Sabonis's. But we shall see. That's the phrase of today. Started this West Coast trip. We shall see. You know what I'm saying? Because we can get excited and the Bulls can compete for 3 quarters, and then they can drop off in the 4th quarter, or they can come in and play solid games. We just never know what you get with the Chicago Bulls team. It seems as of right now, with the All-Star break, the Chicago Bulls, they have a good game, they have a bad game, and they kind of flip-flop between the two. The last time we seen the Chicago Bulls, it was against the Milwaukee Bucks. They had a bad game. So against the Sacramento Kings, hopefully it's a different story, and the Chicago Bulls are able to come out here and have a good game. But we shall see. Drop your predictions below. Let me know how you're feeling about it all, and we're going to go ahead and continue to talk about it, and we hope to see you tonight on the live call. So make sure if you're tuned in, you're hitting that like button and you subscribe to the channel. We will have the live call late tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern. My goodness. And we shall see what the Chicago Bulls are really, really made of. The team, if you have a bad game, you got to expect the team to come back out on the next game and have a good one. And I'm hoping to see Kobe White get out of this slump. Keep shooting the ball, keep being aggressive, talk to your mentors, and let's put our best foot forward, and let's go out here and get some dubs, man. Let's get some dubs. It's always better when our Chicago teams are winning. And the last time we seen the Bulls, they lost. So hopefully we can see a victory tonight. But hey, that's it for me today, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure if you're tuned in, you hit the like button and you subscribe to the channel. The live call will be live and popping later tonight. So late tonight. But hey, that's that. And if you want to call in, give us your take on the state of the Chicago Bulls, whatever is on your mind, or today's episode, or an episode that we did a day or two ago, whatever. Just let us know. Call in, and that number is 773-242-9219. This is another episode of Shy Bulls Podcast. I'm Bobby. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one for sure.
Cognac. Gang.